I see all the ex-MMA guys in the thing. It's like, guys, one, this isn't in our sport. All the act is never to come to the UFC because at the end of the day, the UFC doesn't need the athletes. The UFC doesn't make stars anymore. The stars become like Merab. He became a star on his own from his Instagram, all the skits he does, and him whooping everybody's ass. They didn't do, a trailer like they did with Conor McGregor and Jose Aldo. Those times are long fucking gone. Long, long gone, right? So for me, I'm not even an athlete anymore, but when I'm in my backyard barbecuing a ribeye and I see you could choose, I'm like, I don't see what's wrong with it. It's like, do you want to date, I always tell Michael, do you want to date a bad bitch? She looks good and outside and all that stuff, but you get behind doors, she's just horrible to you. Or would you date a girl who's like, maybe a 6 and, she's great at, she's good all around. I think it's okay for athletes to be able to pick and choose, right?
I just wonder if they truly can. And I'm also just raising the question as to why. Why does this need to happen? No one seems to have a problem with it in boxing. No one is complaining about it.
I'll tell you why. Is because when the UFC looks at it, it's like, how can we make this the most profitable business?
I know why.
Yeah. How can we make it profitable? Why would I get a business and do something where I'm giving half the pie away? Why the fuck would I do that as a businessman? I wouldn't do that. Like, why? I mean,
I get it.
You know what I mean?
But we still have to talk about it and call into question. And ultimately, look, the UFC model works. The WWE model works. It clearly works. But there's just a lot of there's a lot of inconsistencies with the things that Dana White is saying. I love when he says this thing about like boxing is the only business out there where trillions of dollars have been generated and poured into it, and there's nothing. There's nothing to show for it. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Matchroom's not worth anything? What are you talking about? Golden Boy's not worth anything? Queensberry's not worth anything? What does that even mean?
Yeah, I think what he means, and Andy Foster talked about this, like where, and you correct me if I'm wrong because you're way more knowledgeable in this than I am. But for me, when I look at boxing, I couldn't tell you who the champions are and what belt means what, right? Second thing is that I never forget when I was following, I believe it was Usyk or another boxer. He was the champion, and I think it was like 2 or 3 months he was obligated to defend the belt, and then he was like, or I don't want to say it was Usyk, because Usyk was like, I'll fight him, I'll do whatever. It was a champion, and he was a heavyweight. He was mandatory to defend the belt. He goes, nah, I'm good. And then he relinquished the belt. Like, he was like, I'm good.
It was Usyk.
And so
2 weeks after he beat Fury to become undisputed champion, the IBF said, we need you to defend the title against the mandatory. He didn't want to do it, and so they took the belt away from him.
Yeah, so
they had Dubois fight Joshua.
So for me, it's almost like, how do I put stock into that belt when they just like, he goes, I can't do it. And he goes, and I understand why I had this discussion with somebody. It's more about the athletes, where as for, what Andy Foster said, I like what he said. He was like, it's more mainstream when it comes, like, I couldn't tell you, and the fights that you want to get made. How I've been waiting to see Anthony Joshua fucking fight Deontay Wilder, or maybe how come we haven't seen Devin Haney fight Gervonta Davis, or like I don't like that. Like how
these are the problems of boxing, but guess what? It ain't gonna change after this happens, because unless you're with Zuffa,
unless you're with the Zuffa, you're not gonna.
If Devin Haney, so on November 8th, Virgil Ortiz is fighting.
Yep.
And everyone wants to see Virgil Ortiz fight Boots Ennis.
Yep. Virgil
Ortiz is a Golden Boy fighter. Mm-hmm. Boots Ennis is a Matchroom fighter. Okay, that could happen, and it probably will happen, because they're both with DAZN, and they're both in the same weight class, and they've both said, like, we want this fight. If Virgil Ortiz was a Zuffa fighter, right, a Zuffa boxing, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
There's not even an option. Like right now, if you are one of the people out there who is dying to see Costello Van Steenis fight Khamzat Chimaev, you want to know how about this one? Because I was being a little facetious there. Dakota Ditcheva. Wouldn't you love to see Dakota fight the winner of Valentina versus Zhang Weili? I would pay top dollar for that fight, right?
Yep.
Sign me up. Yep. It would be incredible. There's not even a point of having this discussion, because it will never happen. Mm-hmm. It will never, ever happen. At least in boxing, there's a chance of now there's a ton of politics. There's a ton of nonsense. Things have stopped these fights from happening all the time. But you know what I've learned over the years as far as boxers are concerned? Like, to us, it's like, oh, come on, there's a WBC, there's a WBO, IBF. You know what? To them, this is what they dreamed of.
Yep.
They want to hold that WBC title. They don't care that it's splintered 4 ways. Muhammad Ali once held that title.